helmet. Southview in the all-blue jerseys and pants and the Red Sox blue helmets. And a kickoff down the field. Ricky Kish will let it go. Picks it up at about the 1-yard line. Up to the 5. He cuts back up 10, 15. Kish down at about the 15-yard line.
Looked like he was going to get sacked deep in his own territory, but he managed to break through a few holes and pull it out around the 15.
He looked undecided on what to do. I wasn't quite sure as that kick went down there as it was bouncing, whether he had touched it and then had to pick it up, or whether he thought it might roll into the end zone, but it died about the 1 or 2, and Ricky Kish decided to take it upfield. So they'll start at 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line. The Southview offense up front, the center Jose Santiago, Chuck Hassler at a guard along with Ricky Ramirez, the tackles Aaron Velez and Jeremy Munoz. Quarterback David Hall under center, hands it off to Orlando Pagan. Pagan picks up maybe 3 or 4 yards as he takes it off left tackle. And not too much running room, and good defense by Lorain Admiral King. That'll set up about a 2nd down and 7 situation for the Saints. Running into play for Southview is Chad Wargo. He'll be a flanker wide out. The rest of the Southview offense, Hall again at quarterback, Pagan, Tim Thompson the running backs, Ricky Kish is a wide out, Eddie Gonzalez a tight end, Chad Wargo also a flanker, Tony Miller will see action. Under center, David Hall with a full house backfield, hands it off and coming and not getting much at all, maybe up to the 20-yard line, if just across it.
Miller, the ball carrier.
Tony Miller, the running back. Give him a gain of maybe a couple yards on that, depending on where they mark it. And they give him good forward progress. They mark it all the way up to the 22, so almost a 3-yard gain. A 3rd and 4 situation. The Saints have to get just across the 25-yard line for a 1st down. Kish will flank wide out to the left. Again, a full house backfield behind David Hall, the quarterback. The snap and the handoff again to Miller. Miller running left side and close to the 1st down.
Tony Miller,
Bob, I don't think he picked it up. Looks like he's just a little bit short.
It looked like he pulled up a little short. Might have gone out of bounds before he reached the pole.
The officials put it down, although they mark it across the 25-yard line. They're going to measure. It is going to be very close. Again, Southview has not played real well this year. Their lone win came really not on the field, Bob, but because of an ineligibility on the part of a Lincoln West player near the beginning of the season. We saw Southview when they took on Cleveland East Tech here on a Saturday night and just couldn't get anything offensive going too much in that ball game. And East Tech pretty much had it their way. And last week, judging from the 56-0 North Ridgeville score, and the Rangers have a fine team this year, that the Saints are really having their problems. Now they stretch the chains. They put it down, and they're going to say just about an inch short. The down marker is flipped to 4th down. This deep in your territory this early, I think they'll punt it, although the punter's not in the game. They're going to go for it.
4th and inches. This could be interesting.
Petresky is the punter. He is not in there. Hall will be under center again. The full house backfield. The tee across. Hall under center. Will the quarterback keep it? He does, and it looks like he lunged forward enough for the 1st down.
He may have gotten 1 or 2 out of the play.
So quarterback David Hall gives the Saints a 1st down. It takes them 4 plays to do it, but they keep the clock moving. And more importantly, the ball in their possession. Ricky Kish comes in with the play. Again, that full house backfield, Tim Thompson along with Tony Miller and Orlando Pagan. Pagan and Miller flank Thompson, who is in the middle. Hall under center. They're stacked right behind him. Turn and the handoff it goes. Looks like Pagan on the carry. He'll get it across the 25, still on his feet. Taking a bunch of Lorain Admiral King players, and his blocker still blocking for him. And picks up, maybe about 4 yards, up to about the 27-yard line.
Looked like he wanted to keep on running. The referee's sitting there telling him something on the sideline. He didn't want to stop.
And I'm wondering if maybe someone didn't have a hold of his face mask in there. There was no penalty flag. The feelings run high between these two teams as they're rivals from the same city, played against each other, I'm sure, throughout grade school and junior high and now onto the high school ranks. Now the officials are talking, I believe, with the respective team captains, maybe telling them to keep it clean, Bob. No extracurriculars, just come out here and play football.
It's kind of cool out there. They might want to get this game over with at a decent time.
Yeah, that's true, too. Right, they don't want any unnecessary delays. So it brings up a 2nd and, Well, a gain of about 5 on that one for Pagan, almost 6. We'll call it 2nd and 5 from the 32-yard line. The handoff and not much running room. Tony Miller will take it, and he might have got back on the line of scrimmage. That was about it.
It didn't look like he got very much past that point, but he looked like he wanted to keep on going.
So far, Bob, they want to keep it on the ground. They're not throwing the football. Not yet, anyway.
Not a single pass has been thrown by the Saints as of yet.
Maybe they're going to wait till they get it up to near midfield or on their side of the 50 before they do anything as far as the air attack goes. Handoff to Tony Miller. Tries to go left side. Good pursuit by Lorain Admiral King. And he is just barreled over. Fine tackle.
For the Admirals, Miller was the ball carrier. Lost one on the
Lorain Admiral King defense all over that one.
and 6.
And that'll bring up a 4th down. And this time Southview will have to punt the ball away.
Yeah, they're not as close as they were before. They really don't have too much of a choice.
So Nick Petresky back in his punt formation. Admirals back to field the punt. Standing at about the 40-yard line. The snap is high. The rush is on. Petresky gets it off. It's going to bounce down and trickle down over the 40 of Lorain Admiral King, and it'll be down there at about the 38-yard line as David Hall is back. So Lorain Admiral King will go on offense for the first time tonight. Setting up Lorain Admiral King on offense, the center is Tuan Pham. His guards next to him, Deshaun Ty and Willie Ortiz. And alternating at tackles, Chris Pogelruck, also Chad Griffin, along with Josh Harder and Marcus Smith. The quarterback is Tommy Hicks. His running backs, David Peoples, Justin Mills, Billy Palos, and Patrick Wooten will see some action. Tony Thomas will be back there. Double wide out to the left for the Admirals. As Hicks barks out the signals, he can throw the football. He rolls out to his left. He's going to cut it upfield. Nice gain up across midfield to about the 48-yard line. A pickup of about 14 yards on that carry and a first down for Tommy Hicks and the Admirals on the first play.
That was quite a hole that Admiral King opened up for him as he went almost 12 yards on a play.
And we have an injured Admiral down on the field near midfield. It's on his back. Don't know who that is. But we will find out shortly. And what we'll do now is take this time out. We have 7:43 left in the first quarter. No score between Lorain and Tommy Hicks, who was injured on the tackle. He went off, though, on his own power. And into the game, Mike Torkerzik, the quarterback, barking the signals. In motion comes Thomas. Thomas will get the deep pitch and gain a couple of yards down to the Southview 46-yard line before he is tackled. Tim Thompson up on the stop for the Southview Saints. You don't know the injury to quarterback Hicks. Could you tell what was hurt, Bob?
I really didn't get a good look at the play. There were a lot of Admiral King members around him. It just wasn't very visible.
And I believe that correct pronunciation might be Mike Tokarzik, as I see it for the first time. So Tokarzik is in at quarterback. He's a 6'2", 270-pound junior. Tommy Hicks out at least for now. Man in motion for the Admirals, and the handoff. Nice gain off of left tackle. Down to about the 40-yard line, just short of a first down. And on the run for the Admirals
is David Peoples.
Was Peoples. Nice pickup, and that brings up a 3rd and short. 3rd and about a yard to go.
Pickup of 7 on the play will bring up 3rd and 1 for the Admirals.
Look for the Admirals to keep it on the ground here. Could see Peoples again. Peoples just a sophomore. Got banged up a couple times this year. When we did their game over at Garfield Heights against Trinity Catholic, he looked good. Looked like somebody jumped, and the handoff to Peoples. He's not going to make it. There was no flag, and he's going to be stopped short of a first down. Nice tackle in there. Eddie Gonzalez came up from his right defensive end position. Actually caught him from behind.
Looked as if he wanted to take it up the middle, but once he got there, the door was shut, and Southview came in around him.
About a 4th and 1 situation. I think the Admirals are going to go for it. Although Tokarzik comes out, and it looks like Tommy Hicks is okay. He's back in at quarterback. Splitting out wide to the right for the Admirals goes Josh Deschik. 2 men in the backfield, Peoples. Hands out wide left, and the handoff, and tripped up, and a nice tackle. Nice tackle coming in for the Southview Saints. Number 80, Zach Cram, got him by the ankles and makes the tackle. And Southview gets the ball on downs. Zach Cram, nice tackle. He may have got some help, but it looked like he was the first one to make penetration. So a loss on that play, and the Saints get it back. Nice defensive stand. And now Southview having a few problems, and they're going to call timeout. Brian Joyner, the head coach, talking with Orlando Pagan, and it looked like Orlando wasn't in the game, Bob, as he walks now out with Brian Joyner. I think they only had 10 men on the field, and obviously Coach Joyner doesn't like that. So we do have a timeout on the field. Very reluctant to put the ball in the air, no passes.
Well, I mean, it is cooling off. The ball could be getting a little damp because of the dew out in the air, and it might be hard to hang on to.
It will make a difference, and does play an effect, especially later on in the night. That ball will get damp and slippery. The handoff, and around the left side goes Tony Miller, and he picks up maybe a couple back to the original line of scrimmage, and it'll bring up about a 3rd down and 10 to go. We do have a flag on the field, as our ever alert, ever observant engineer Tim Pagasnik points it out. Of course, the second half of our Kohlmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash doubleheader tonight. In the first game, you heard Midview and Avon. And coming up at halftime, we'll have the scores of tonight's games. Of course, they have now all concluded. And we'll have them on our Burger King scoreboard halftime show with Pete DiDonato. So do stay tuned for that.
Admiral King is moving backwards, so the penalty was against them, and Southview will move forward up the field.
Penalty against the Admirals, a 15-yarder and a big one. And an unsportsmanlike conduct call against the Lorain Admiral King Admirals. Somebody did something they wasn't supposed to do out there. Didn't see a number, don't know, they don't specify. But the officials are keeping an eye on that. And now we have movement, and Admiral King got Southview to move. It looked as if Zach Cramp from his right side was the one who jumped. Illegal motion should go against Southview. That's exactly what it is. So after picking up a 1st down with a 15-yarder, it marches back 5 the other way. A 1st and 15 for the Saints. Ricky Kish will be the wide out, flanked way out to the left. Everyone else in, again, that full house backfield, Miller, Thompson, and Pagan. Hall under center. Santiago snaps it back to him. Back to pass for the first time, and the throw on a slant, and an incomplete pass as Kish had it and then dropped it at the Lorain Admiral King 40-yard line. Pass was right on the mark. He should have had it, Bob.
We're almost 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and this is the first pass thrown by either team tonight.
That's right. On Lorain Admiral King's only possession, they kept it on the ground too. So as they say, they're playing it close to the vest to this point. The scoreboard reflects that in a 0-0 contest. So out over center and on the ball is Jose Santiago. Again, joined with Ricky Ramirez, Aaron Velez, Chuck Hassler, and Jeremy Munoz up front. Hall under center. Wargo split wide to the right. Man in motion, and we're going to have a penalty. Tim Thompson jumps in the backfield. So 2 in a row.
Well, they get the 15 yards to move forward from Admiral King, but they're going right back to where they began.
You can't do that. The mistakes like that will throw you off in any sync that you may have had developing. And not only that, but you're losing yards on the football field. And first and foremost, that's what counts. So now a 2nd and 20 situation for the Saints. They've got to get it down to the Lorain Admiral King 32-yard line for a 1st down. So we could see Hall passing here. Again, full house backfield. Hall will fade back to pass. The left-hander looks across the middle. And incomplete. And that time Cramp could not hang on to it. That was another pass that probably should have been caught.
It was in and out of the arms of one of the Admiral King members, too, up the field.
Yeah, look, he threw it to the wrong color jersey. The Admirals again dressed in their white jerseys, gold pants, the gold helmet, all trimmed in blue. And again, as we mentioned, those gold numbers on those white jerseys, not really outlined in the dark blue much, are very tough to see. So a 3rd and 20 situation. Hall's going to go back to pass. Gets the snap, does go back. Fires it downfield, and Wargo is wide open for a moment, and then the pass just a little bit too long, falls incomplete. Good defensive work by the Admirals.
If he had gotten his hands on it, there was nothing but open field in front of him.
Just a little bit as he stretched out and dove for it. And Hall's pass, not a bad one, just a little too long. And the Saints will punt Nick Petresky into the ball game once again. Thanks for joining us tonight for high school football here on your hometown sports station, WEOL Elyria Lorain. We hope you enjoyed the first game, Midview and Avon. Snap is good for Petresky. He boots it out of there, and coming down with it at about the 30-yard line in a nice return of about 12 yards for the Admirals, and that comes to Tony Thomas. And Lorain Admiral King will start at 1st and 10 from their own 42-yard line.
The Admirals will have a 1st and 10 on their own 42-yard line.
Setting the Southview defense up front for the Saints, Aaron Velez along with Jose Santiago, Zach Cramp, and Eddie Gonzalez. Yes, they play both ways. You've heard them on offense. The linebackers, Vaughn Francis, Tim Thompson, Orlando Pagan, and Miguel Alvarado. Deep backs, Tony Miller, Chad Wargo, and Ricky Kish. Back to pass goes Tommy Hicks, and he throws one out in the flat in no man's land. It falls incomplete. 2nd down and 10 for the Lorain Admiral King Admirals. The big hookup this year that everyone was looking for was Hicks to Scotty Hans, and Hans has been hurt quite a bit this season, and they haven't really had a chance to get together and get as many completions and his hookups and opportunities as was originally hoped by head coach Terry King. Man in motion goes Thomas, and the fake handoff, and Hicks will keep it across the 45 up to the 50 into Southview territory and down at about the Southview 44-yard line. Nice run on the option.
Again, he had a hole open up in the middle of the field, and he decided to take it himself. Made another nice 1st down run.
Pickup of 13 on the play.
He's doing very good for the night.
A 13-yard pickup, as you've heard our public address announcer mention. Again, it's homecoming for Southview, and many of the Southview Saints, the team, along with their fans and the cheerleaders and the band, marched all the way from Southview High School on Grove Avenue, Route 57, all the way here to Oberlin Avenue and George Daniel Field. Pitch back to Tony Thomas. Thomas around the right side. He'll gain about 7 yards on a nice run across the 40 down to the Southview Saint 38-yard line.
Tackle by Alvarado.
Down under 3 minutes at 2:51 left here in the first quarter. No score. The Saints and Admirals. And again, Lorain Admiral King coming into this one with one win in the Erie Shore. That was their surprise win over the Sandusky Blue Streaks. So if they can win this one tonight, as Terry King told us on our Krostowski Tractor Football Forecast show, that'll set up a match with North Ridgeville next week. And depending on what the Rangers and Blue Streaks do tonight, it could leave Lorain Admiral King all by themselves in first place should they knock off North Ridgeville next week. But first things first, and what we have is a whistle and a flag and too much time, as Hicks tried to get his offense set and just couldn't do it. Not in time anyway, and they're going to march back 5 yards.
That'll bring up 2nd and 9 for the Admirals.
Once again, Wally Minnis along with Bob Monchine here from George Daniel Field. Next week, the Lorain Admiral King Admirals again taking on the North Ridgeville Rangers, and the Southview Saints will be here at home as they take on the Sandusky Blue Streaks. Some Sandusky scouts are here tonight. Hicks on a quick drop will throw out to a left, wide open and incomplete. The ball falls incomplete. Not a bad pass at all, just a little bit too long down the left sideline for Scotty Hines. He was open.
He had his hand out there. The ball touched it, but he just could not pull it in.
But we have a yellow flag on the field and an illegal procedure call against the Lorain Admiral King Admirals, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. But Hines must have run some stop and goal pattern there to get him wide open. The defensive back bit on it and came up, and Hines was by him. Penalty is declined. That'll bring up a 3rd down and about 9 yards. Southview playing good defense. And the Admirals come up to the ball. The center, Twan Pham, will snap it back to Tommy Hicks. Double wide outs left, wide out to the right. Deep drop by Hicks. Now the pressure's on. He rolls to his right, dumps it off, and down the right sideline, there's running road. And a flag is down, and there goes, believe, David Peoples. Is that the number? We're going to have to see. It may have been Tony Thomas, and it was Tony Thomas. No, they say David Peoples. Now a flag, but what was that? In that situation, it looks as if it very well may have been a hold or a clip, although they're talking with the Lorain Admiral King Admirals, and that'll lead you to believe it was against Southview. Peoples on that screen pass reception after the scramble by Hicks.
As he broke through the line, it looked as if one of the Southview players grabbed onto a jersey or fell on the back of his leg.
Really, that negates a nice pickup. And they'll march it back. Illegal use of the hands by the Lorain Admiral King Admirals. So wipe that one out. And Southview has to accept this penalty. They can't decline it or the play would stand. So that'll march Admiral King back another 10 yards anyway, bringing up about a 3rd and 19. Again, at that point, in my vision, should be okay. It was tough to see whether that was 20 or 22, and I did not know if it was Peoples or Hicks, or rather Thomas on the reception.
It's difficult to tell. Sometimes you don't even know until they get to this side of the sideline.
Yeah, right. If they're on the wide hash mark, and they're going to pick up the flag. Now, we saw this happen over at the Bay and Avon Lake game several weeks ago, where Avon Lake busted a long run. It looked as if it was either a clip or a hold on that particular play, although no one saw it. The official says, no, I didn't mean to drop the flag. I wonder if this is the same set of officials, Bob.
That could very well be. Who knows what's going to happen anymore tonight.
But the flag is picked up. No penalty, and the Admirals will get a first down and keep the ball now on the Southview 17-yard line. So credit Peoples with that reception and the pickup and the yards gained. And now we have a momentary stop. And Tim Thompson's talking with the officials. Brian Joyner out on the field. And I'm not sure what they're discussing or what's going on, but Lorain Admiral King's got it 1st and 10. Knocking on the door at the Southview 17, 2:02 left here in the first.
I don't believe the Southview coaches quite agree with what the refs are calling.
I don't think so either. Not only was the flag thrown on the play as it was going, but they called the penalty, they marched the football back, and then changed their minds inexplicably. You don't see that happen very often.
Oh, but
man in motion, fake handoff. Hicks is going to keep it and gain some nice yards down to, well, about the 10-yard line, almost a gain of 7 before he stood up by a host of Southview tacklers.
It's funny, you make the comment that this doesn't happen very often. There's twice this season so far that we've seen it.
And not to the liking of the team that thought they had that flag up going their favor. Pickup of about 7 that time by Hicks, and the tackle Miguel Alvarado in on it for the Southview Saints. So a 2nd and, we'll call it 3 for Lorain Admiral King. They can get a first down if they get to about the 7-yard line, counting down with 1:20 left here in the first. Hicks under center. Man in motion, he looks to the right, throws to the right. It looked like a bump by Kish on the intended wide receiver, but no flag thrown, and the ball falls incomplete.
It was good coverage by Kish over close to the end zone. He got his hand in there, knocked the ball down, and saved a touchdown from Admiral King.
So no penalty, and looked like Scotty Hans was the intended receiver. So now a 3rd and 3 for Lorain Admiral King. Clock is stopped with 1:12 after the incompletion. Full house backfield. Thomas along with Peoples back there. Hicks will pitch wide to the right, does to Peoples, and he's not going to go anywhere. Tackled for a loss as Orlando Pagan came up from his linebacker position. Alvarado was there. A loss of a yard, and that'll bring up a 4th and about 4, and I think the Admirals are going to kick a field goal.
4th and 5.
On to attempt the field goal should be Jared Wilt, seeing his first action since early in the year. And now they're getting ready to spot it. That isn't Jared Wilt, though. And the snap and the field goal attempt. It's long enough, and it looks good. Oh, it's no good. It's pulled to the left. So the field goal attempt by Lorain Admiral King's, well, it may have been Samuel Baez. Was that 45? I apologize. I can't, and it certainly wasn't Jared Wild, who we thought might be doing the place kicking for Lorain Admiral King. But nonetheless, the field goal's no good. He pulled it to the left. It was long enough. It looked good at first. And it falls wide left. And Lorain Admiral King denied again as we're down to 26 seconds remaining.
That kick was by Brandon Clay.
Brandon Clay, okay, the man who did the kickoff. Southview with the ball, the handoff, and no running room whatsoever. And that'll be the last play of the second quarter. Tim Thompson on the carry. Maybe give him a yard, depending on where they spot the forward progress as the seconds tick down, and that will be the end of the first quarter. With the score, the Lorain Admiral King Admirals nothing, the Southview Saints nothing. We'll be right back.
Wally, I'm having trouble keeping up, writing this stuff down. And I know I'm behind now.
And the handoff, the Southview has the ball, and Orlando Pagan, a pickup of a couple of yards on the play, up to about the 23-yard line. It'll be a 2nd down and 7. So the Admirals, with the best chance of the evening, driving it all the way down to about the Southview 10-yard line near the end of the first quarter. And the field goal attempt by Brandon Clay going wide to the left, and no score. In motion now comes Miller, and the handoff up the middle. Tim Thompson on a hard run. He's got the first down as he crosses the 30-yard line and has stood up right there and never did go down. So Thompson gives Southview at least 3 more downs to do something with the ball. And as long as they keep it on this left hash mark, it's a little bit easier to see the Lorain Admiral King Admiral numbers.
Yeah, the way the light's hitting off the jersey numbers, it's just reflecting as if there's nothing there at all.
A little bit easier now that they're on this side of the field, the near the Southview sideline, the west sideline. So 1st and 10 for the Saints, and David Hall having trouble getting the play in, or whoever brought it in, he didn't quite understand, and we've got another timeout, Southview. So we'll take this break with 11:08 left in the second quarter. It's Southview nothing, Lorain on in 10, and the handoff up the middle, and not a lot of running room across the 35, maybe to the 36-yard line. On the carry, and just getting up now. Well, that was the offensive lineman of the Southview Saints, Ricky Ramirez.
Pick up a 3 on the play will bring up 2nd down and 7 for the Saints.
And now a 2nd and 7 situation for the Southview Saints. David Hall is under center. They have 2 flankers, and Tony Miller in motion now to the left. Quick handoff up the middle. Tim Thompson's not going to go anywhere as he's submarining there. A fine tackle. Looked like Billy Palos in on the stop for Lorain Admiral King. And again, at halftime of this game coming up, we'll have the rest of the scores for you as action around the area took place tonight on a lot of homecomings and a lot of very important games. And in case you missed any of the scores, we'll have them with Pete Donato and Dave Rydell at halftime here on WEOL. So Jose Santiago under center. In the slot is Tony Miller. Orlando Pagan will get the deep pitch running to the right. Tries to cut it upfield, does. Breaks away and picks up a 1st down across the 45-yard line of the Saints, down at about the 46. So Orlando Pagan picks up the 2nd down on this possession for Southview. And coming into the game with the play for the Saints is Eddie Daniels. Tells it to David Hall, and Orlando Pagan will come out after picking up the 1st down. Ricky Kish will split out wide to the left. Tim Thompson in the backfield. Miller again in motion. He gets the deep pitch, and he'll run it to his left, and Miller cuts it up and picks up maybe a yard. Nice tackle in there, and that was Billy Palos on the stop for Lorain Admiral King from his middle linebacker position.
Just when you thought that running back was going to get by him, he wrapped his arms around him and pulled him right down.
He would have had a lot of running room.
Oh, yes.
Hadn't Palos come up and got him. as that almost worked. The deep pitch and the run to the left. So now Pagan in motion, goes straight back, and the ball handed off up the middle. Tim Thompson, nice running room, breaks a tackle across the Lorain Admiral King 40, across the 35, and down to about the 33-yard line.
If it weren't for number 4 for Admiral King, Robert Mitchell, hanging on to him from behind, again, you would have had a lot of running room between him and the end zone.
Robert Mitchell and Tony Thomas on the tackle, you're right. Nice run and another Saints first down. That gets their side fired up here. And a fine crowd they have on homecoming. Despite a tough season so far for the Saints, they've filled up this home side pretty well here at Lorain Admiral King. And they're at George Daniel Field, and across the way, Lorain Admiral King, a fine contingent of their fans. A good battle in the city of Lorain. 1st and 10 Saints from the Lorain Admiral King 33. Deep pitch, it goes to Pagan. He'll cut it up the middle, and boom! He ran into Billy Palos, and that was as far as Pagan went.
I think once he hit Palos, he wasn't going any further. It's like running into a brick wall.
That was it. He was ready for him, and a nice tackle, too. And Pagan's not an easy man to bring down, but a nice tackle. And no gain on the play. And it'll bring up should be a second down. The yardman across the field had flipped it to third as we look at the scoreboard, though. That is correct in second. Tim Thompson in the backfield. Eddie Daniels is in. Kish is split out wide to the left. Wargo to the right, and a momentary stop in action. And now Lorain Admiral King is set on defense, and here come the Saints. Hall drops the ball at center. He'll fire wide to the left and complete. Ricky Kish on the reception down to about the Lorain Admiral King 26-yard line.
That was a beautiful catch by Kish. It caught on the sideline as he rolled out of bounds, but I don't know how he hung his hands onto it.
Hall fired it in there, and somehow he was able to latch onto it. 3rd down and 2 for the Southview Saints on their best drive of the evening. No score in this ball game. We have 7:12 left here in the first half. So Kish again wide out to the left. Wargo to the right. In the backfield, Thomas along with Pagan and Thompson. Now Thompson and Pagan line up in a deep slot, and now in motion is Miller, and we've got a flag thrown on the field, and
it's going to be against Admiral King.
Admiral King jumps, and it looks as if very well on defense for the
at this
Admirals.
Point, it's anybody's guess. You can't really see the jerseys.
Right, Marcus Smith looked a little disgusted. Of course, it may not have been Marcus at all. And that'll be a first down. As Admiral King, 21-yard line, back to pass as David Hall slips momentarily, fires into the end zone, up for grabs. Chad Wargo had it knocked away in a fine defensive play. The pass was right there, and a fine defensive play by Lorain Admiral King.
Wargo was looking to the referee to say as if, hey, I caught it, but I guess the referee disagreed with him.
No, he didn't. Looked as if he was bobbling the ball. And it'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Fine defensive play by Lorain Admiral King. Southview now on the 2nd and 10. Back to pass again as Hall is going into the end zone, and it's a touchdown. Ricky Kish got his feet in before the end line. Touchdown, the Southview Saints. Beautiful pass from Ricky Kish. It'll go as a 21-yard hookup. And the team that wasn't throwing the ball very much threw it once, had it knocked away. Then on the 2nd down said, we'll come back. Nice pass. David Hall to Chad Wargo. And the Southview Saints strike first. They're ahead 6-0.
That was just an incredible catch. Nice spiral on the ball, and to catch his feet in the corner of the end zone, I mean, that's concentration.
It sure was, to be able to catch the ball knowing that you're coming close to the line, and just got his toes in. Nicely done by Chad Wargo, on the extra point try by Nick Petrevsky. Snap is good, holds good, the kick is up, a line drive through, and that is good. So the Southview Saints here on the home side, happy, the bells are ringing, and the sideline is jumping around. The Saints strike first, Daniel Field in Lorain. Wally Minnis along with Bob Monsheen and the Southview Saints getting ready to kick off the football. They score the Knights' first touchdown on a 21-yard pass from David Hall to Chad Wargo, and the extra point by Petresky makes it Southview 7 and Lorain Admiral King nothing. And Petresky, ready to kick it off, approaches the ball and kicks it downfield on a line drive. Fielded in the middle of the field. It's like Tony Thomas. He's across the 30 and almost to the 30, down at about the 27-yard line.
Looked like he was going to run through the middle, but he was met by Preston Beard and took him right down at the line. In fact,
he's down all right.
He's still down on the field.
He had a good head of steam going. And it looked as if he was going to gain a lot of yards, but nobody put the block on Beard, and as Bob called it, he was nailed, and the wind maybe knocked out of him. Hopefully that's as serious as it is. Field, Tony Thomas on the kickoff return, momentarily stunned. He walks off the field on his own power. He's okay. Maybe the wind was knocked out of him. And the Lorain Admiral King Admirals will begin it. 1st and 10 from their own 28-yard line.
Once the temperature begins to drop, Wally, the aches and pains begin to grow.
A little bit. It doesn't make the bumps and bruises feel any better when it is cool. Back to pass on a quick drop is Hicks. He throws it too far on the right sideline, intended for Scotty Hans, and the ball falls incomplete. So a 2nd and 10 for Lorain Admiral King. And trailing now, we may see Hicks throw the ball even more now than ever. It's tough to read the minds of the coaches and their game plans. For a while, Bob, it looked as if Southview wasn't going to throw the ball at all. And then they had a nice pass that was knocked away in the end zone, intended for Ricky Kish. And on the very next play, right back to the pass and the touchdown hookup from Hall to Wargo.
A lot of people would have a tendency to feel a little gun-shy after dropping a few passes, but not Southview. They went right back at it, like you said.
Tommy Hicks rolling wide to the left and picks up nice yards all the way up to about the 45-yard line. A pickup of almost 17 yards, a penalty flag, and Tim Thompson clapping his hands for the Saints. It's going to go against Lorain Admiral King. Either a hold or a clip on that run. So the Admirals hurt themselves again. Last week they had to fight from behind in their win over Ravenna. They got a very fortunate break against Ravenna with a couple of minutes remaining in the game as Ravenna decided to throw the football inexplicably deep in their own territory. Robert Mitchell picked off the pass and ran it in 10 yards for a touchdown. So a hold against Lorain Admiral King, and that'll march it back. So from 1st down, you dig yourself a huge hole. And they mark it from the point of infraction. So it'll be a 2nd down and about 12 to go.
Bring up 2nd and 13 for the Admirals.
2nd and 13, 15 yards from the point of the infraction. So again, the Admirals come up to the line of scrimmage. Twan Pham, Willie Ortiz, Deshaun Ty, Josh Harder, Chad Griffin up front, Marcus Smith throwing blocks as they alternate a tackle. And the heat is on, and a sack. The Southview Saints. Nicely done. A sack by the Saints. And Bob, if you've got a 47 on your roster,
No,
and you don't,
I don't.
no, I don't either.
I can't tell you who that was. Number 47 for Southview made it. We can definitely say that.
And you have a different roster than I have. I have another sheet, and neither of them have number 47. Well, we'll try and get his number here before too long. But in effect, what it does is bring up a long 3rd down and 19 to go for the Lorain Admiral King Admirals. And after being sacked, we'll see what Tommy Hicks does this time. Double wide outs to the left, man wide out to the right, and too much time against Lorain Admiral King.
These drives are beginning to resemble a yo-yo.
Yep, you go up a little bit and then down a little bit.
Pull
or back.
right back.
Yep. They're going back steadily now. Be a 3rd and 24 to go.
Yeah, the ball is marked around the 17-yard line now. If they go back any further, it'd be pretty much a safety.
Now the play comes in from the side. Hicks has it, and the team knows it. And they come out. Deschuk along with Hans out to the right. And now a timeout, and Lorain Admiral King in all kind of disarray, and Southview celebrating. They know they've got them confused. So, with a timeout, Lorain Admiral King, the score Southview 7, the Admirals nothing. 4:48 left in the third. We'll be right back. 3rd and 24. Back to passes. Hicks, Pagan with the pressure and the sack on Tommy Hicks. And Bob, they go back even more on the yo-yo.
Yeah, they lost another 7 yards on that play. Pagan walked in, or actually stormed in, and knocked the quarterback down on his back.
Well, the Saints had the momentum, and they're fired up. The touchdown has certainly helped, and not only that, but Lorain Admiral King not getting their blocking assignments down, and they looked bad on that possession after the first down run by Tommy Hicks called back because of the holding penalty.
Yeah, Southview definitely has the momentum on their side of the field. You could see them before we went to the timeout. They were rallying the fans in the stands to start making some noise.
Back to punt is Tommy Hicks, the quarterback. Booms it. Nice kick. Fielded at about the 40-yard line by Tony Miller, around the right side. Down the right sideline, we had a flag, and that'll probably go against the Southview Saints on the return. But Tony Miller picked it up and made a nice run before the infraction.
20 yards.
That'll be marched back, but still Southview is going to be in very good field position. We'll wait for the officials' call. It was a clip. And that'll march it back to closer to midfield. Or maybe just across it as they step it off from the 31-yard line. We'll see indeed if they don't go back to about the 49 of Southview. But still, decent field position as they'll begin this drive. Their first possession since their touchdown. Again, a 21-yard touchdown pass from David Hall to Chad Wargo. Now Wargo will come off the field. Eddie Daniels will come off the field. And Brian Joyner is going to talk with his team, and we've got a timeout Southview. So we'll take another break with 3:56 left in the second. The score with you, we have 3:56 left in this first half. Southview with the ball in the 7-0 lead under center. And we have a new quarterback in the ballgame. The pitch goes to Eddie Daniels. He brings it across midfield to the Lorain Admiral King 47-yard line. And it looks as if Tony Miller was the quarterback on the pitch. And here comes David Hall. He sat out for a while, and they gave Tony Miller a shot at quarterback for one play, Bob.
That'll throw Admiral King off and confuse them even more than they've already been.
Well, maybe like Pittsburgh does with Cordell Stewart, right? Just use them every now and then. And you're right, that the Admirals have been confused, as Bob mentioned, and that may make them think a little bit more. And again, we have Miller under center. Miller will be going back, but he'll be sacked. He's still on his feet and finally taken down. He didn't have much room to go at all. A nice tackle. Marcus Smith in on the pressure for the Admirals.
The only direction he had to go was backwards, and Southview was more than willing to let him go in that direction.
Marcus Smith got a hold of him, and Miller wasn't going to go down in a hurry or with any ease, but he loses yards. About 7 back to the Southview 43-yard line, a third, and we'll call it about 17 to go. And again, Miller at quarterback. He fakes the handoff, and Miller will roll.
There's a
flag on the play. Chances are that's going to go against Southview. Miller picked up maybe a yard before he was tackled.
Do you think we're going to have to start calling Miller slash from now on?
Yeah, maybe so. You're right. But he gets down real low. He's not very tall at all. He's tough to see. I wonder why Hall isn't in a quarterback. The penalty is against Southview, and I'm wondering if
come off the field now.
Now he comes off, and now he looks like he's okay. Now into the game for the Saints, David Hall.
Chad Wargo is also in.
Right. Out of the game comes Zach Cramp, and they accept the penalty to make it third and real long. Third and about, well, we'll call it 27. The ball is on the 29-yard line, not quite at the 30, and they've got to get all the way down to the Lorain Admiral King 41 for a first down. So Hall is in at quarterback. Pagan, the lone running back. Kish a wide out to the left, Wargo to the right. Back is Hall. He's going to fire it way downfield. Nice spiral. Wargo's there, and it looks like it's intercepted, and it is.
It was.
Nice defensive play by Lorain Admiral King. And if we can get a number, I know the public address announcer is waiting for one. It looks like Scotty Hines on the interception. But it is tough to tell. Is that 80? No, 22. No, it's David Peoples.
Admirals take over first and 10.
If that was 22 indeed, although I thought it was 82 and maybe Scotty Hines. Nonetheless, Lorain Admiral King has it. 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Back to throw, a pump fake is Hicks. He gets it up to the wide receiver, and that is Scotty Hines, and he picks up a first down, a gain of about 15, all the way up near midfield.
On the tackle for the Saints. And
It was a nice stop by Southview, but again, if he didn't catch him, there was nothing but open field the rest of the way to the end zone.
1st and 10 on their own 49-yard line.
I believe that interception should be credited to Scotty Hines, too. Although we don't have him playing a defensive back on our roster. The turning the handoff, that is David Peoples. And Peoples picks up maybe 3 yards across midfield to about the Southview 47. Time of the essence and running out now for the Admirals. We have about 1.5 left here in the first half. And they won't huddle. The play is called in. Double slots. The running back is Peoples. Tommy Hicks fades back to pass. Hicks back. He throws in a wide open. Oh, and overthrows his intended receiver. Tony Thomas looked to be open, but the ball falls incomplete.
3rd down and 6.
And we have a 3rd down and 6 to go. We're at 1:12 left here in the first half.
Well, that will stop the clock for a little bit. That'll save them some time.
The Admirals, I believe, with 1 timeout remaining here in the first half. In motion comes Thomas, in a bump in the backfield, and rolling is Hicks. He'll pitch it to Thomas, and he's not going to go anywhere. Fumbled! And picked up, and I think it was Hicks who fell back on it, as Thomas was hit real hard. It was Hicks who falls on the ball, but the Admirals are going to face a 4th down and 10 situation from just across midfield in Southview territory. Will they punt it away with 1 minute left, 49 seconds, or I think they are going to punt it.
You knew that play was in trouble from the start, right when Hicks ran into his own running back.
Yep, it didn't quite get going from the beginning. Right, David Peoples and Hicks bumped, and the option with Thomas, the option for Hicks to pitch it. And Tommy is back to punt the ball. And gets a short one up, straight up in the air, doesn't go very far. Southview's got to watch it, hits a Southview player, and then right into the hands of Tim Thompson. And Thompson will get it up to about his own 37-yard line. Oh, the Saints were very, very fortunate there as they hit one of their players right in the helmet.
All credit should be given to Tim Thompson on that play. I mean, that's alertness for you. If not, it could have gone back into the hands of Admiral King.
So the Saints will get it with now just 16 seconds left before halftime. And I'm sure they're just going to kneel on it one play and go in at halftime up 7-0. And with that full house backfield, Eddie Daniels will rush off the field. They may hand it off. Hall will take a knee, and that is the end of the first half. So we've had a good one, closely played. Southview has dominated for the most part, and one big completion, a 21-yarder from David Hall to Chad Wargo for their touchdown. And that's how we stand at halftime. The Petresky extra point made it 7-0, and that's where we're at. equalize. We're beginning second half action. Fielding the ball and going down was Robert Mitchell. The kickoff by Nick Petruski, and Lorain Admiral King will begin the second half, 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. 7-0, Southview leads it. And again, to set the Lorain Admiral King offense for you, Tawan Pham is the center, snapping it to quarterback Tommy Hicks. Willie Ortiz, Deshaun Ty, the guards. The tackles alternate: Marcus Smith, Josh Harder, Chris Poglerik, and Chad Griffin. Running backs: David Peoples. David Palos has seen, Billy Palos seen a little action. Also back there, Tony Thomas, and the handoff, and off left tackle comes the running back.
It was a nice takedown by number 27 for Southview, Ed Gregoric.
And it was Justin Mills on the carry. Gregoric, one of the linebackers for the Southview Saints. And if we ever do get number 47's name, we'll tell you about him. He played a key part in that first half on a sack, and I see him in there now, but don't know. Also, Tim Thompson in at one of the linebackers. Orlando Pagan in at one of the linebackers. So a 2nd down and about 5, a pickup that time of about 5 yards by Justin Mills, and the pitch to the wide side and going wide right. At time looked like David Peoples, and he picks up a yard, making it about a 3rd down and 4 situation for the Admirals. Wideouts for the Admirals: Scotty Hans has seen some time, Josh Deshik has seen some time. Now it looks as if Hans will go wide out to the right. Peoples and Thomas in the backfield. And Southview jumps offside, and that's going to give Lorain Admiral King a 1st down. Tim Thompson came up too aggressively, and that'll be enough on the march off to give Lorain Admiral King a 1st down. On defense, Southview sets up like this up front: Zach Cramp along with Aaron Velez and Jose Santiago. Eddie Gonzalez, also a defensive end. The linebackers are Tim Thompson, Vaughn Francis, Orlando Pagan, Ed Gregoric's in there, Miguel Alvarado, Chad Wargo, Ricky Kish, and Tony Miller playing the defensive backs. So 1st and 10, Lorain Admiral King, their own 44-yard line. Tony Thomas will go in the slot to the left. Peoples in the backfield. And the handoff on the reverse on the inside comes to Tony Thomas, and a pickup of about 10 into Southview territory down to the Saints' 46-yard line. Fine halftime show, Bob, by both marching bands. Did an outstanding job. Some good sounds on a very clear, crisp evening here at George Daniel Field in Lorain.
Yeah, we might mention that the temperature has dropped a few degrees since the opening kickoff.
You know, last night, heading Thursday night into a Friday morning, the forecast was for a frost warning. It never did get that cold. Doing the morning show for Mike James, I got to the studios about 3:45 Friday morning, and the temperature was 45 degrees and never did drop much because it was cloudy, but very clear and cool. And because of the clear conditions, the temperature is dropping. We'll get into the 30s this evening, or so it feels right now. And we're close to the lake where it's a little bit warmer. And just by the nose of the football, the 1st down, Tony Thomas picks it up on the inside reverse. So the Admirals with 2 first downs on this, their first possession of the second half. They trail at 7-0. They were able to move down late in the first quarter to the Southview 10-yard line where the drive stalled, and Brandon Clay's field goal attempt of about 27 yards went wide left. So Tommy Hicks under center. Short drop, looks over the middle. The pass is high, and behind Scotty Hans, but Hans picks up about 9 yards on the completion.
It was a nice pass catch by Hans, but he was brought down by Tony Miller, who was right on his back.
Miller on the tackle for the Saints.
As Bob called it, Miller on the tackle, a pickup of, well, we'll call it about 8. They're about 2 yards shy of a 1st down at the Southview 38-yard line. Under center is Hicks. Hands it off to the up man. And I believe that is Justin Mills.
You know, Wally, we were mentioning NFL football earlier. We would be remiss. You know, you think a lot of Lorain fans are now cheering for Chicago with the former Admiral King alumni on the team in Raymond Harris.
I would say a great number of Lorain Admiral King fans would be. I know I root for them. Raymond, I don't know if you ever had a chance to meet him, Bob.
No.
Good guy. Wonderful young man. And in his days at Ohio State, I had a chance to talk with him, not since he's been with the Bears, but again, Raymond hurt again this year, and the pickup on the carry by Mills does give Lorain Admiral King a first down. So they're third on this possession. Have you heard a lot of Lorain fans being Bears fans?
Well, you know, I've heard of a few. I mean, without Cleveland.
Without a Browns team?
Yeah, without a Browns team in Cleveland to root for, they got to cheer for a favorite, and I guess they're going to cheer for somebody that they know locally.
All right, the Bears are a good team to cheer for anyway. Although they're not having a good season. 2-4 under Dave Wannstedt. Again, an inside reverse on a carry and a nice pickup of about 7 yards. That goes to David Peoples on the carry.
Again, brought down by Tony Miller.
Miller's been in on a lot of action, offense and defense. He's even seen some time at quarterback in this game.
Slash.
Yeah, right. Slash running back, quarterback, and defensive back. Now coming out of the game is Vaughn Francis. He'll go to the sideline and talk with his defensive coach. Second down and about 3 yards to go for the Admirals from the 29-yard line of Southview. And on an inside reverse, the handoff goes to Tony Thomas. Doesn't get anywhere. That was botched up, but some very fine penetration by the Southview Saints. They did a great job. Miguel Alvarado was in there. Also, Orlando Pagan was rushing in, did a fine job.
It didn't even really look like he made it back to the line of scrimmage. I mean, that pocket collapsed, and there was nowhere for him to go.
No, it wasn't. Martin Moyet in on the pressure. So a third down and about 3.5 to 4 yards to go. Ball back nearly on the 30-yard line of the Saints. 7:36 left in the third. Southview up. Tommy Hicks on the rollout. He has some running room. He's going to get the first down. Crosses the 25, the 20, then fumbles the ball. And a pile up and a scramble. I thought Southview had it at first, Bob.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this side of the field, but there's a scramble for the ball.
And they do have the ball.
Cheers.
Chad Wargo says, we've got it. And I don't know who came up with the fumble recovery. It may have been Martin Moyet, as he's getting the congratulations going off. Boy, a nice pickup by the quarterback. Hicks had the first down inside the 20-yard line. And then he fumbled it. The ball popped way up in the air, and Southview will begin their first possession here in the second half, 1st and 10 from their own 16.
There's been a few times tonight where Admiral King has put up nice drives up the field, all for naught. They haven't made it in the end zone yet.
Again, they drove well that time. So at the full house backfield, the handoff from quarterback Hall, and it looks as if on the handoff and the carry is Tim Thompson. It is. Tim crosses the 20 to about the 22, a pickup of 5 yards, bringing up a 2nd and 5. Once again, a very good crowd on hand here on homecoming night for the Southview Saints, and Lorain Admiral King with their fans across the way. And once again, the homecoming contingent marching from Southview High School here on a very nice Friday night. And if you can, when you maybe don't have plans on Friday night, get out and support your local high school team. Now the handoff for Southview, going to pick up across the 25 and close to the first down. That was Orlando Pagan. And he very well may have the first down from here. It looks like he does, Bob.
The marker is on the 26-yard line. Looks like he's got about 6 to 12 inches. I guess it would be about another yard.
And the official does signify first down. Eddie Daniels brings in a play for David Hall. Now Chad Wargo will go out. Wargo, who caught the touchdown pass from Hall with 6:58 left in the first half. An outstanding catch near the sideline in the end zone.
The way he tucked his feet inside the corner of those lines, man, that was spectacular.
Pagan gets the deep pitch. He runs it around the right side, picks up some nice yardage. Just knocked out shy of a first down on the Southview bench.
And it looked like he was already going out of bounds. It could have been a late hit if the ref wanted to call it.
Tommy Hicks was over there with a little bit of pressure, and the Southview Saints do have let's see. They're moving the yardsticks. It is a first down. He picked up about 10 on the 37-yard line. The Saints keep it going with a full house backfield. Pagan along with Miller and Thompson. Hall hands off a quick handoff up to Thompson, and he gains maybe a yard up to about the 38-yard line. Bringing up a 2nd and 9 situation. And right now, David Hall looks for the play from the sideline. Chad Wargo will bring it in, and Tony Miller will come out. Hit on that tackle. Looked as if it was David Peoples. And now we've got a whistle and a stop in action. I think that's going to go against the Southview Saints. The illegal motion penalty, as the officials didn't even let it run, and that's exactly what it is.
The grass appears to be getting slick out there, Wally. The dew might be settling in. I've noticed a few times that the quarterback has gone to plant his foot and slipped out of it.
It does play a big factor. You're right, not only on the grass itself, but the ball that rests on it and whatever moisture can accumulate on the ball. Because during the daytime when these players practice, it's obviously sunlight or at least daylight, and you don't get these conditions, and it is a little bit different under the lights especially. Handoff, quick hitter, and no go. It looked like Orlando Pagan, and he gets stood up right near the line of scrimmage. All the Admirals front in on that, and they have a number of them up front. Justin Mills, Glenn Collins, Jacob Morano, Marcus Smith, Corey Fleming on defense. So we have a 2nd down, and they'll call it about 13 for the 1st down for the Saints. And as long as they have the ball and a 7-point lead, I think they're rather content to at least. So he buckles it on there. It looks like David Peoples, and Southview's ready to go. 3rd down and 13. Back to pass goes Hall. He fires it. It could be intercepted and incomplete. Wargo almost made a fine catch of that.
He had
Mitchell in on the breakup.
He had both hands on that ball, just couldn't pull it in.
That'll bring up a 4th down.
And Robert Mitchell on the defense, and that'll bring up a punt situation for the Saints. 4:55 left in the 3rd. 7-0 Southview. Nick Petrevsky on to boot the ball away. And thanks for joining us for high school football on this Saturday, now we can say, coming your way on a tape delay. And the snap is high. Petrevsky has trouble with it. No rush yet. He picks it up, gets it away, and a boot that goes straight up into the air does take a Southview bounce and will cross midfield. So Petrevsky did a good job on a high snap, getting back, and Lorain Admiral King did not have the rush on, and now we have a penalty flag. And Chad Wargo wondering why.
I didn't see what the call was.
And the official coming over to the Southview bench explaining to Brian Joyner some type of hold, it looks like, against Southview. Or, an unsportsmanlike conduct against the Saints.
Well, I guess that warning in the 1st quarter was detrimental to the game, you know. He gave him one warning, and now everything that goes wrong, they're going to call it.
And the officials' warning, even at halftime, before they kicked off in the 2nd half, the officials told them to keep it clean, and that may have gone unheeded, although, again, easier said than done when you're 16, 17, 18 years old. Emotions run high, and you've got all that pent-up enthusiasm and energy in you.
When you look at the fact that they're two crosstown rivals, though, they're going to throw the rules out the window anyway and just play some football.
So after Petrevsky on the high snap does a good job to get the punt off and got it across midfield, the penalty on the punt, unsportsmanlike conduct, will march the Admirals again into good position in Southview territory. They'll begin the drive 1st and 10 from the Saints' 36-yard line. 4:40 left in the 3rd. And here comes Admiral King. Peoples in the backfield. Hands wide out to the right. Deschuk to the left. In motion comes Thomas. Fake handoff and a roll right by Hicks. Throws it downfield on the sideline, incomplete. And that ought to be Scotty Hands over there on the completion. And a 1st down.
Bruce Tuck was in there on the play for Southview. Nice takedown.
And a fine pickup. Gain of about, 13 yards. And a 1st down for the Admirals. They're looking to tie this thing up. And we'll credit that to Scotty Hands, although I didn't even hear the public address announcer say a number, because quite frankly, when they get on the other side of the far sideline of the field, it's tough to see the numbers, even now on the far hash mark.
Yeah, we're all experiencing the same problems with the jersey numbers.
And we are in the handoff straight up the middle. And a nice gain. And a pickup of about 8 on the carry. And I believe that was Justin Mills.
Ricky Kish in there for Southview.
And that was Justin, and Kish on the tackle for the Saints. So a second and about 3 at about the 16-yard line. And the Admirals again knocking on the door. They've had it as close as about the 10-yard line in Southview territory. That was in the first quarter. Turning the handoff up the middle and down to the 5 and down to the 2-yard line.
Chad Wargo was in there for Southview.
On the tackle.
A touchdown for Admiral King.
And it looked like David Peoples on the carry for another Admiral first down to the 2. And Wargo did save the touchdown, at least momentarily.
If it weren't for him, that would have been 6 points for Admiral King.
The Admirals at the 2-yard line, first and goal. Thomas in the backfield along with Peoples. Under center, Tommy Hicks will turn and hand it off and stop cold. Nice tackle. Miguel Alvarado in on the Saints. Tackle, and Peoples again on the carry. So the last thing the Admirals want to do is bog down now. Play comes in from the sideline for quarterback Hicks, and he'll relay it to the rest of the offensive squad. They seem to already know it as they break the huddle in a hurry and head up to the line of scrimmage. And Peoples in the backfield. Thomas back there. Hicks under center. Gets the snap. Hands it off. David Peoples up the middle, and he's going to get down close, but not in. Nope. Shy of the goal line.
Not much shy, but...
Vaughn Francis in on the tackle for the Saints. Limping off now is Miguel Alvarado. So at the 1, it brings up a 3rd and goal. And the play comes in again from the sideline. Hand splits out wide to the right. Peoples is in the backfield. Tony Thomas is back there. Hicks under center, calls the signals, turns, hands it off. Peoples in for the touchdown. Good blocking up front on the left side of the Admirals offensive line. That time they had the push, and Peoples goes in from 1 yard out, and the Admirals pulled within a point. It's Southview 7 and Lorain Admiral King 6. We've got a good one, Bob.
Definitely. Now the extra point will tie the game up at 7. It's anybody's ball game.
And attempting that extra point will be Brandon Clay. The snap is low, but picked up and put up. The kick is up, and the kick is good, just inside the right upright. So Brandon Clay with the PAT ties it at 7 with 2:32 left here in the 3rd quarter. Again, the score. Lorain taking it on the run. Tony Miller, he's got room to the 40, to midfield, to the 45, the 40, and tackled down at the 37-yard line. Tony Miller on a nice return. Scotty Hans on the stop. Well, he took off, had a nice hole, Bob. Nobody laid a hand on him until finally Scotty Hans was able to corral him down at the 36-yard line.
Nothing but daylight past Hans, but he got his arms around him and brought him down.
He had the angle on him toward the sideline. So what momentum Lorain Admiral King may have had with that touchdown run by David Peoples, the extra point by Clay that ties it at 7. Southview regains it on a beautiful kickoff return by Tony Miller. Now Miller in motion, Pagan in the backfield. Hall drops the center snap and falls on it back on the 38-yard line.
Didn't even look like he had a firm grip on the ball. It just hit his hands and dropped on the ground.
Well, we've got a good one. The Series Shore Conference battle in our Colmeyer Sports Gridiron Class, second game of our doubleheader. 7 up, and Chad Wargo will come out. Ricky Kish will split out wide to the right. Miller in the backfield, a full house backfield again with Thompson and Pagan. David Hall under center. Hall turns, hands it off, and Thompson has it, and a nice gain. Tim Thompson with a hole up front, takes it down to about the 25-yard line. That should be good enough for another Saints first down.
Alex Towner in there for Admiral King.
Towner on the stop, but not until Thompson picks up a Southview first down. 1:40 left in a very quickly played third quarter. Admiral King has scored to tie it at 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like
Again, Southview came in 0-3 in the conference, 1-5 overall. Lorain Admiral King 0-1 in the conference, 2-4 on the season. Next week, Southview will host Sandusky. Lorain Admiral King taking on the North Ridgeville Rangers. First and 10 Saints, the Lorain Admiral King 25. In motion is Daniels, and the handoff is to Daniels, and he busts through for about a 9-yard gain down to the 16-yard line. I believe that was his first carry of the night, Bob.
Yes, it was.
Eddie Daniels. And once again, this being on a tape delay, and we are aware here now in the third quarter of our game that the Avon Eagles are controlling the Midview Middies, Bob. Quite a surprise.
I would never have guessed it.
Not to take anything away from Avon at all or underestimate them, but the way Midview has pounded on teams this year, no, many people didn't pick Avon to win that ball game. Hall under center, 2nd and 1. Handoff to Tim Thompson's got the first down, and he'll be dragged down, not until he gets to the Lorain Admiral King 12-yard line. Thompson was still on his feet and snuck out of there and said to the official, "I never did go down." But they may have called his forward progress stop.
The clock stops at 29 seconds as they move the chains up the field.
And if they run the ball, this probably will be the final play of the third quarter. Now, Lorain Admiral King coming in with a couple of defensive replacements. Marcus Smith, it looks like, has come back on the field for the Admirals. Full house backfield. Daniels in there along with Pagan and Thompson. Wargo out wide right. 1st and 10. Handoff to Pagan. Tries to sweep wide to the right, nowhere to go, and he's going to be down. Good pursuit by the Admirals. Fine defensive play.
Looked as if he went to turn upfield. He lost his footing again. We were talking about that damp grass as it cooled off, and that could be a big factor on that last play.
David Peoples in on the tackle. Hicks was there. I know. Admiral King in Southview George Daniel Field. Tied at 7. The Saints have the ball. 2nd down and about 11 yards to go from the 13-yard line. Back with it, David Hall to pass. He fires left side of the end zone, and it's an interference. It should be. Yes, it is. Yep, good call. Good call. The intended receiver, Ricky Kish, and the defensive back, Alex Towner, was over there and definitely interfered with the intended receiver. That flag was late in coming, but a good call.
Yes, Kish went for the ball. Towner pushed off on his back, and he landed flat in the end zone, and that's where the call came from.
Lorain Admiral King is arguing, but there is no argument there. That was definitely a pass interference. They may be arguing that Kish may have pushed it first, but it was the last man to get caught. So that should be a half the distance to the goal line penalty.
And a first down.
And a first down, an automatic first down. Ought to put the ball about the 6-yard line. Although in the pros, you call it pass interference in the end zone, I believe it goes down to the 1-yard line. But here it is, a half the distance penalty. So the Saints first down and 10, full house backfield. Hand off to Tim Thompson, no running room at all. He got close to the 5-yard line, but not much more than that.
Southview again trying to punch it up the middle, but the wall from Admiral King is standing in their way.
Well, if they cannot get in the end zone, they'll have a shot at a field goal with Petrevsky, but they're thinking 6. Full house backfield.
That penalty helped them out a lot with that fresh set of downs.
Sure did. Pagan, Thompson, and Miller in the backfield. Hall with the snap. Hands it off. No running room whatsoever. Tim Thompson again going up the middle, but nowhere to go. A fine tackle in there. That was Marcus Smith again. Billy Palos also on the assist.
3rd down 5.
A 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line. Now Chad Wargo will come out. Hall calls the play in the huddle and they break it. Kish flanks out wide to the left. Again in the backfield. Miller this time along with Pagan. And Hall under center. It looked like someone jumped. The pass into the end zone and is bobbled and incomplete. Ricky Kish had it momentarily and then dropped it. A good defensive play that looked like Robert Mitchell. Maybe it was Alex Towner on the knockaway. That'll bring up a 4th and goal. And I think you've got to kick the field goal.
With 10:35 to go in the game, you've got to get the points.
And Petrevsky is there. Wargo will hold for him. Southview lines up. They look a little undecided. Now Pagan's got to get off the field before they snap it, and he does. And now the snap with Wargo on the hold. Petrevsky on to attempt the the field goal. The line drive field goal is no good. He hooked it wide to the left. So Southview with a chance. But Petrevsky's field goal is not true, and we stay tied at 7 with 10:30 left here in the 4th quarter. Southview 7, Lorain Admiral King 7. We'll be right back.
Boy, this whole night's been a night of collapsed drives.
Yeah.
Get in the red zone and you can't punch it in.
Both teams have moved the ball but have not been able to produce the points on the board. And that time, Southview missing a golden opportunity and a field goal attempt by Nick Petrevsky of 22 yards, and it was no good. Handoff in the backfield and nowhere to go. Tim Thompson in on the tackle as he corrals Tony Thomas. Thomas will lose yardage, lose about 4 or 5 back to the 17-yard line. Time ticking away, 9:37. A quickly played second half. This one is flowing by. Again, to set that Southview defense for you. Aaron Velez, Jose Santiago, Eddie Gonzalez, Zach Cramp, Timmy Thompson, Vaughn Francis, Orlando Pagan, Miguel Alvarado, Kish, Wargo, and Miller in the defensive backfield. The drop back and the nice pass. Completion, Tommy Hicks to his main receiver, Scotty Hans. Picking up the first down to the Lorain Admiral King 35-yard line. A quick drop and a slant over the middle by Hans. Picks it up.
Chad Wargo was in there for Southview to assist in the takedown.
With the first down by the Admirals, and they'll maintain possession. All tied at 7. Now under 9 minutes here in the 4th quarter. Again, Hans will split out wide to the left. In the slot is Peoples. And the fake handoff and the rollout by Hicks gets away from one man, gets away from another, throws it downfield wildly to the sideline and incomplete. He did a great job of just staying on his feet and getting rid of that football.
I don't know how he did it. He got out of the arms of 2 Southview defenders to launch that ball down the field. If not, it could have been a big loss of yards.
They came in on him high and Hicks ducked him a little bit. One man had him by the waist. He was able to shake free. Saving a big loss and stopping the clock at 2nd down and 10 with 8:41 remaining. Now Hans will split out wide to the right this time. It's like Deschek out to the left. In motion comes Tony Thomas. The fake handoff and now the pitch to Thomas. He eludes a man and fumbles the ball, then hops on it across the 40 at about the 41-yard line. Whoa! That ball is getting slippery.
He was brought down by Southview's Martin Moyet.
Moyet in on the tackle, and we have a flag on the play. And this could go against Lorain Admiral King. Generally it does, and it is a hold. Illegal block in the back, and this will march it back against the Saints. I believe they do this from the point of the infraction. Nonetheless, they're going to be marched back 15 from wherever it took place, and that's what the officials are conferring on now. Next week on our Kohlmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash, the Avon Eagles will travel on the road to Clearview to take on the Clippers. Tim Alcorn, Gary Pelter, yours truly will be there for that. Maybe Bob, you'll be there also.
Definitely.
2nd down and 20 for the Admirals.
And then a week or 2 weeks from tonight, it's Elyria at Sandusky in our Kohlmeyer Sports Gridiron Clash. Just 3 weeks remaining, and then the final weekend. That one's the wild card game where we could broadcast anyone from the area. It looks like about a second and we'll call it 18 for the Lorain Admiral King Admirals back at the 22-yard line. Hicks back to pass, pops it over the middle, complete, and Tony Thomas has it. He has running room. Thomas corralled down by Tony Miller at the 48-yard line of Lorain Admiral King.
Another first down for Admiral King. It's looking pretty good for them. Another drive.
Big pickup. Gain that time of about 26 yards. Just a little pop over the middle. Thomas, from his wingback position, was free and almost busted it. Nice tackle by Miller.
Admirals have a 1st and 10.
First down, Admirals. Approaching 8 minutes left in this fourth quarter. Tommy Hicks under center, 2 wide outs. Hand off in the backfield. Looks like David Peoples on the carry across midfield into Southview territory. Tackled at about the 48-yard line. In on the stop, Jose Santiago for the Saints.
You know, Wally, you mentioned with 3 weeks to go in the season, it's interesting to see what playoff possibilities are coming up for all the high school teams in the areas.
The computer points adding up, and if Avon hangs on to that win against Midview, and it certainly seems as if they will, the Eagles will pick up a bundle in Division 5, and they'll hurt Midview's chances, unfortunately, in Division 2. 2nd down and 7 to go for the Admirals. Handoff again. Peoples in the backfield. He'll drag a couple of men across the 45 down to the Southview 43-yard line. Peoples just a sophomore. A lot of young players on both squads. So if they can stay together as a team and be back next year, you would have to feel that both the Admirals and Saints will be stronger ball clubs for it. 3rd down and about 3 to go. The Admirals have to get to the Saints' 41-yard line.
Saints 44-yard line.
6:47 and counting. Hicks awaits the snap from center, and Southview jumps offside. He may have called him off with his cadence count, Bob. Good job by Hicks indeed if he did. And that'll give the Admirals another first down as they head from left to right to the south end zone here at George Daniel Field.
It's shaping up to be a nice drive, but again, the key point's going to be once they get inside the 20, can they punch it through?
And a timeout, Southview Saints with 6:40 left in the fourth. It's Lorain Admiral King 7 and Southview. Admiral King a 1st and 10 from the Southview 38-yard line. Back to pass to 6, pump fake, throws right down the sideline. Hans is open, but overthrown and incomplete. Just a little overthrown by Tommy Hicks. As Scotty Hans was open, Tony Miller back on the defensive coverage, but he just wasn't able to get to the ball. And a 2nd down and 10 upcoming for the Admirals. 6:34 left. We're tied at 7.
You got to give a lot of credit to Tony Thomas for Admiral King on that last play. He threw a block that saved the quarterback from getting sacked big time.
That's right. Just about ready to be pounced on, and Hicks somehow, thanks to Tony Thomas, survived. Now Thomas in motion to the left. Fake handoff to Peoples on the roll. Hicks in the pitch to Thomas. He fumbles the ball. Flag is down. And a scramble for the football. Who came up with it? We don't know. Southview's not jumping around. It doesn't appear as if the Saints got it. Maybe Thomas fell back on it. He's had a couple of escapades tonight. The flag, that remains to be sorted out. That very well could be against Lorain Admiral King. And I think the Admirals got back on the football. And David Peoples now having a few words with someone maybe from Southview. And the flag, I believe, would go against the Admirals, and it is a hold.
They look like they're moving backwards.
And again, march it back. A lot of penalties here this evening. Yet still a quickly played game. A 10-yard march off on the hold, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 20 for the Saints, for the Admirals, excuse me. So they break the huddle, and you got to feel that Tommy Hicks will throw the football in this situation. His favorite receiver, Scotty Hans, out wide to the right. Deshik to the left. Back in a deep drop is Hicks on a screen pass and intercepted. Orlando Pagan steps in front of the intended receiver all the way. 5 touchdown. touchdown. Oh my. Oh, Orlando Pagan stepped in front of the intended receiver on the screen pass. Those are always dangerous. And all the way for a touchdown.
Southview read that play right from the start. Once the screen was tossed, he was there to take it and go all the way.
Orlando Pagan, call it about a 40-yard interception return. You could see it coming, couldn't you, Bob?
It was painted right on the field.
And it looks as if the intended receiver may have been Gerald Wilt, who hasn't seen a lot of action, a single digit. And again, it's tough to see those Admirals numbers. But now Petrevsky on to attempt the extra point. Pagan will run off the field after the interception. And now we await the extra point. The snap is high, the kick is up, and this time it's good. Petrevsky on the extra point. And again, the Southview Saints assume a 7-point lead, 14-7. On an Orlando Pagan 40-yard interception return. Field, Orlando Pagan has just returned a Tommy Hicks pass on an interception all the way for a touchdown. Officially, or unofficially, the public address announcer said 54 yards. We didn't think it was quite that far. Very well might have been, but nonetheless, Southview with the Petrevsky extra point, back up by 7 again at 14-7. Those are dangerous passes out in the flat, those screens. When you're one-on-one with a defender, he's coming your way. And Hicks just couldn't get it there in time.
Oh, when you lob the ball up in the air like that, you have a ton of time.
On the kickoff, we have a handoff and a reverse down the sideline. And a block ahead, Southview, and all the way, and a flag. It looks as if that's David Peoples. And again, tough to see. We'll see what the flag is about. Bob, can you see the number?
I can't read it from
I
that side of
can't
the
read
field.
it either. Lorain Cable, cameraman, says he can't see unless he focuses in closely. There was a handoff on the kick return, and I think that's David Peoples, it is, who took it down the sideline. And the flag is against Southview. So right away, Bob, after Lorain Admiral King's first touchdown, the Peoples run, Tony Miller returned the ensuing kickoff for Southview to break the Lorain Admiral King momentum. Now we have the Pagan interception for Southview and a touchdown. Lorain Admiral King on the ensuing kickoff on a little bit of trickery, and the handoff eventually to Peoples, taking it down the left sideline, breaking the momentum of the Saints. And the initial signal was against Southview on the penalty. We'll see now just what they say as the official comes over to talk with head coach Brian Joyner.
These two teams had to be saving all their trip plays to the fourth quarter just to make it a good show.
And they're still trying to sort this out. And the penalty is declined. Why, I don't know. Maybe it was on the kickoff itself. Well, but the flag came later, though.
After he went up the field.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say maybe it was on the kickoff itself and they would decline it, but no, that couldn't be.
It seemed to me as one of the Southview defenders made contact with the
But why decline the penalty if it's against Southview and you have the ball? I don't know. Well, nonetheless, Lorain Admiral King will begin it deep in Southview territory. 1st and 10 from the Saints' 23-yard line after the exceptional kickoff return by David Peoples.
Could be offsetting penalties.
They didn't signal that way, and the handoff goes, it looks like, to Peoples, and he's dragging tacklers on the carry all the way down to the Saint 11-yard line. And that'll be good enough for Lorain Admiral King, first down. Nice run. And that is Jared Wilt, who's in the ball game, number 6. We haven't seen a lot of them. So 1st and 10, Lorain Admiral King knocking on the door again, trying to tie it up. They need a touchdown and the extra point. 1st and 10 from the 13. Hicks under center, hands off the Peoples. Peoples down to about the 3-yard line. Takes it off the left side. Good blocking up front. Did they say that was Justin Mills on the carry?
Vaughn Francis in for Southview.
On the tackle, and a 2nd and 1. And we have 4:46 left in this fourth quarter. In the backfield, it is Mills and Peoples. Under center and a quarterback keeper. It looks as if Hicks got the first down. She took it straight ahead. A little bit of pushing and shoving after the tackle. And now we'll keep our eye on the huddle and the ball carriers because it is so hard. Again, I keep mentioning it, excuse me, but
referee signals first down.
It is a first down, a first and goal from the 2-yard line. Peoples is in there. It looks like Tony Thomas is in the backfield. A turn and a handoff, and that looks like Thomas to the goal line, and he does not get in.
The Southview band over there cheering as if they held him out.
He is pushed back, but did pick up about a yard. And down to now a second and goal from the 1-yard line. Southview trying to stop the Admirals. King needs a touchdown and the extra point to tie it. Bob, would they go for 2 or would they just tie it in this situation?
Well, I would
probably just the tie.
I would go for the tie. You know, you don't want to chance it.
Thomas and Peoples behind quarterback Hicks. Hicks on the handoff, looks like Peoples, and a touchdown. The ball comes loose in the end zone.
It looked like after he crossed the plane.
Yeah, oh yes, it's a touchdown. And we'll say David Peoples, number 22, for his second touchdown of the evening. Right between the center and the guard. From a yard out, his second touchdown run from 1 yard out with 3:18 left. And a 14-13 Southview lead. And Clay on to tie it with the extra point. The snap is slow, the kick is up, and the kick is good. Just got inside the left upright.
Ball game.
And we're tied at 14 with 3:18 left here in the fourth quarter. Of the city of Lorain, we're tied at 14 with 3:18 left after a David Peoples 1-yard touchdown run and a Brandon Clay extra point. Now they line up like it's going to be an onside kick, and it is. Why, I don't know. Tony Thompson hops on the ball. Why onside kick it? I wonder.
And they're trying to throw
catch them by surprise, but the way they lined up and the way they lined up then for the onside kick and bringing everyone to the one side of the football, they did it slowly, and there was no surprise, Bob.
I don't think it happened the way they wanted it to, but maybe they're just trying to throw a little confusion towards Southview's side.
But what it does is give Southview excellent field position at Lorain Admiral King's 48-yard line. 3:18 left in the fourth. Pagan in the backfield. David Hall under center. Fake handoff. He'll roll to the right. Throw to the right, and a completion to Tony Miller down to the 40-yard line, and it's going to be a late hit, I believe, on David Hall. He's got hit in the back, and well, for the Admirals, I believe that was Frank Solozzi who hit him in the back. 85, and that'll be a late hit and unsportsmanlike conduct, and that'll give Southview another 15 yards down to the 25-yard line of Lorain Admiral King. And David Hall's still on his back.
I was like you. I was watching the play itself. I didn't see the hit, but again, with the cold weather out there, the aches and pains seem to be feel a lot worse.
Now, why don't they tack that on to the end of the play? Well, it's a first down nonetheless, but I thought they'd get even more yards. But they did it from the line of scrimmage, interestingly enough. And so what do you give them credit for? Do you give them credit for the pass completion, first down, or the penalty that gave them 5 more yards? Well, maybe they called it only a 5-yard penalty. And on the handoff, a bit of a mix-up, and David Hall lucky to hang on to it. Billy Palos in to knock him down in a hurry.
Drop of 2, loss of 2 on the play will bring up second down and 12.
And indeed, no, that was not David Hall. I believe it was Tony Thompson who took the handoff. And a loss of about 2. Back to the 36-yard line. We're down to 2:20 left in the fourth.
David Hall's back in the game.
David Hall has re-entered the game. Kish wide out to the left. It's like Wargo out to the right. Fake handoff to Pagan. Hall back to pass. Pressure's on. Sack.
Brought down by 2 defenders.
At about the
Admiral King.
44-yard line. The pressure was on. And
Admiral King is getting fired up.
looks like the Admirals' David Rivera was in on the pressure, number 35. The man who's getting the high fives. Back at the 43 now of Lorain Admiral King. We're under 2 minutes. That brings up a 3rd and long, a 3rd and about 18. 3rd and 20 maybe even, and timeout Lorain Admiral King. So we'll take this break with the stop in action. We're tied at 14 here. 1:34 left in the fourth quarter. We're dead even at 14 apiece. Southview with the ball at Lorain Admiral King's 43, but a 3rd and 20 situation. David Hall, short drop, back to pass, throws over the middle, ball tipped in, almost intercepted.
Almost intercepted. 2 Admiral King defenders had their hands on the ball, but they couldn't pull it in.
Towner had his hand on the ball. Also for the Admirals, very close to it, Patrick Wooten, but the ball fell incomplete. And now really the Saints have no choice. They've got to punt the football away.
With 1:28 to go left in the ball game, Admiral King has got a chance for a few good long plays.
But they're not going to punt the ball away. They're going to go for it. 4th and 20 at the 43. If you don't make it, you give Lorain Admiral King good field position. David Hall back to pass. He'll fire it down the middle. The ball is almost intercepted and ball knocked away as Tony Thomas collided along with, well, I can't see the other number back there, but nonetheless, the Admirals take it over in decent field position at the 43.
It was definitely to their advantage to knock that ball down and not catch it.
Does it surprise you they didn't pump it? Yeah, or punt it. It did surprise me. And again, better off for Lorain Admiral King that they've got it at the 43-yard line.
Excellent field position.
Tommy Hicks is going to be firing the football. That may give Brandon Clay a chance to kick a game-winning field goal. We'll see what happens. Back to pass is Hicks. Pump fake, throws to the left on the sideline. The ball's complete. Beautiful reception over there. Who do we have on the reception? Is that Peoples? I can't tell the number.
Chad Wargo was in there on the play for Southview to
on the far sideline. It could be Tony Thomas on the reception. And I believe it was. Thomas lines up in a slot. 1st and 10, 35-yard line of Southview. Lorain Admiral King hitting on a big one, hand off to Peoples. Peoples around the left side. He'll be dragged down and out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. Make it the 27-yard line, excuse me.
Clock is ticking down to 47
seconds. He did
seconds.
not go out of bounds, and we've got a timeout, Lorain Admiral King. I thought he went out of bounds, but no, he didn't. With 46 seconds left in the fourth quarter, we're tied at 14. I think we can keep it right here for now. Don't need to break. 46 seconds, tied at 14. Lorain Admiral King, 2nd and 6 from the 27. Pump fake to the left. Hicks will throw it down the sideline and throw it away. There was nobody open. Scotty Hines got tied up over there and never did break open down the sideline.
Well, to give you an idea of how tight this game is, the Admiral King marching band was putting on their jackets and getting ready to walk out to the bus. They've gone and taken their seats again to watch the end of the ball game.
Well, I think they better do that. It cannot leave. The football team's going to ask them, where were you when we needed you? Where was our fight song? Especially if they win this. Again, this has been a crazy fourth quarter. Tied at 7 going in. Orlando Pagan intercepted a Tommy Hicks pass, rambled back 54 yards, and then a David Peoples 1-yard touchdown run, and the extra points tied it. 3rd and 7. Handoff. Goes to Peoples. Around the left side, Peoples got the first down across the 20 to about the 19. And, well, it looks as if he's out of bounds. They have to stop the clock anyway to move the chains. Timeout-wise, I don't know if the Admirals have another one left. But the clock is stopped with 35. Once they spot the ball, if he did not go out of bounds, the official will blow the whistle and the clock will start. I heard a whistle, but I don't see the clock moving at 35. And he must have gone out of bounds. 1st and 10 Admirals at the Southview 19. They're moving in. How will it unfold? Hicks under center. Back to pass. Hicks with the pressure on, throws, and the ball is caught. Scotty Hines at the reception at the 10-yard line. And he is close to the first down, but he doesn't have it. The clock ticking. 23, 22. The Admirals want to use a timeout.
They are within field goal
And they
range.
have used the timeout and definitely in field goal range. But as Bob has just said, Brandon Clay will be the man. And now the Admirals with a timeout. We'll talk it over with him. And the field goal team is on the field. Brandon Clay is ready to attempt a 27-yard field goal. And now we have a timeout, Southview. Brandon Clay, the field goal kicker. 27-yarder, right hash mark. To the end zone to our right, to the south end zone. No wind. We're about ready to go. The snap is high, the hold is down, the kick is up, and it is no good. It falls short and to the right, and we're going to have overtime, although we have 19 seconds left in regulation. Oh, the snap was high. Tommy Hicks did the best job he could to get it down. The kick was weak. It was short, may barely have gotten over the crossbar, but was to the right, and no good.
Well, the Southview players on the sidelines are just
Severe. And again, well, with 23 seconds, second down, Lorain Admiral King had a chance to move closer even, but figuring they were close enough, and Hall will kneel down for Southview. We are going overtime. King and Southview even at 14. We'll be right back. Southview and the Lorain Admiral King tying it on Peoples. Touchdown run with 3:18 left in the fourth. Clay the extra point. And then Clay with a chance to win at the end of regulation. Missed the field goal from 27 yards. And Southview now on the first play in overtime runs it a yard, making it a 2nd and 9. With 11:38 left, and the Saints, with Tony Miller running off the field, have the play in. David Hall at quarterback. Again, in the all-blue uniforms, white numbers, blue helmets, red socks, and Hall under center. Pagan in motion. Tim Thompson, the running back. The hand off to Thompson, nowhere to go. Down to about the maybe 17-yard line on a 2-yard gain, if that. And that'll bring up a 3rd down for the Saints. Well, sometimes it may come to who has the better field goal kicker, Bob.
definitely you get down inside that red zone, inside the 20-yard line, and whoever has a stronger leg is going to win the game for you.
Providing the snap is good, and on that Brandon Clay field goal attempt near the end of regulation for Lorain Admiral King, again the snap was high. Hicks did his best job to get the ball down. Now Hall under center, dropping back to pass, throws right corner of the end zone, and Chad Wargo got a touchdown! Oh, what a beautiful pass! And Wargo was behind the defensive back. Touchdown!
Picture perfect pass. You couldn't have asked for a better one in the corner of the end zone, and Wargo was there to receive it.
It looks like he got behind Alex Towner, and Towner is a little upset with himself, but well, it's going to happen. Or it was not Alex Towner, excuse me. That was Sean Smith, the cornerback, and Sean walks off the field. And now the extra point attempt by Petrevsky. Southview goes up 20-14 with the touchdown pass, a 17-yarder, and the point by Petrevsky drilled right through the middle. And the Southview Saints strike first in overtime, and it's 21-14 on a 17-yard pass from Hall, the second time he's looked up with his wideout, Chad Wargo. In the same way, they need to score to tie it, to send it to more overtime action. David Peoples on a run all the way down to near the 10-yard line and close to a first down. Stopped just short, about a half yard. Peoples, who has scored the Admiral King Admirals 2 touchdowns tonight, both on 1-yard runs, and both were needed to tie the ball game, and the Clay extra points would end up tying it. But now Southview was struck on a Hall to Wargo touchdown pass to go up here in overtime. Second down and inches for the Admirals, and it looks like Lorain Admiral King jumped, and they're going to be knocked back 5 yards. And that's exactly the call, illegal procedure against the Admirals. They didn't need that after the fine first down run by David Peoples. And Bob, it's getting nippy.
It definitely is. We got our hands in our pockets up here in the press box.
And a good game. Well, this has been an entertaining one for the fans here. This is one they won't forget for a long time.
I don't think they're cold after what's been happening.
So a 2nd and 6 now, back at about the 16-yard line for the Admirals. The handoff goes to Peoples. He runs around the left side. Peoples still on his feet, gets across the 10 to about the 7-yard line. Never did get knocked down, just pushed out of bounds. As Pagan came over there along with Wargo. Also Vaughn Francis pushing him out. And that'll be a first down for Lorain Admiral King. They mark it at about the 6-yard line. They need to score to tie it to keep the overtime going.
The fresh set of downs is going to give them a lot of help there.
So here they come up to the line of scrimmage. Peoples in the backfield. In the slot is Tony Thomas. Deshik out wide left. And hands out wide right. Handoff to Peoples across the right tackle, across the 5 down to, they'll mark it about the 3-yard line, maybe his
I think forward progress brought him up there.
Maybe the 4-yard line. 2nd and goal at the 4. Into the game comes Jared Wilt, and it looks like maybe Tony Thomas going off. That far Lorain Admiral King sideline definitely can't see the numbers. But we know Tommy Hicks is the quarterback. People's behind him. Wilt in the slot to the right. It is Thomas still in the ball game, slot left. Turn and a handoff to Peoples down to near the 1-yard line. Tackled in there by the Southview Saints. Coming up, Vaughn Francis also in on the tackle for the Saints was Chuck Hassler. And that'll be a 3rd, and well, they see the ball's on the 2, probably closer to the 2 than the 1. So the Admirals have 2 chances to get in to push it, and then they need an extra point to tie it or 2 to win it. Hicks under center again, Peoples in the backfield. Quarterback keeper by Hicks, he's in for the score. And it's 21-20. Tommy Hicks on a 2-yard touchdown run. And now the Admirals with the extra point can tie it. Will they go for 2? No, Brandon Clay's going to kick it to tie it.
It's definitely becoming a game of who wants it worse.
That's right. And who wants it more?
Yes.
And more could be better. But now they need a good snap and a good hold and a kick by Brandon Clay to tie it. And here we go. The snap is good. The hold's good. The kick is up. The kick is good, but we have a flag on the field. What is the infraction? They'll talk it over. And the flag. Well, the Admirals seem to be walking off. I think it would be against Southview, although they haven't made an indication yet.
The ref looks like he's going to call those guys back onto the field, though.
The Admiral King Marching Band with their fight song Anchors Away in the background as you hear it. The flag is against Lorain Admiral King, and that'll make it tougher for the extra point. Extra points in high school football are never a sure thing.
As we've seen tonight.
Yes.
That'll put the ball probably about the 15-yard line for the kick.
So it would make it a 25-yard extra point. Again, they need a good snap and a good hold, and the kick must be true. The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it looks good. It's no good! He hooked it wide to the left, and on a missed extra point, the Southview Saints defeat the Lorain Admiral King Admirals 21-20. Oh, what a way to lose it because of the penalty, Bob.
Unbelievable.
The Southview Saints come through with the victory.
And the fans are ecstatic in the stands.
And the Southview Saints get their first win ever on the football field this year.
Look at the
won by
celebration.
disqualification. The Southview players jumping, and some now are lining up to shake the hands of the Admirals, and the Admirals are heartbroken. Some staying down at the other end of the field in a tough loss. And Tommy Hicks Mad, he's kicking his helmet. You can't blame him. Let him be mad. You got to get it out. They're heartbroken. They're heartbroken, and rightfully so. In a tough loss in the city rivalry, and the Southview Saints get the victory. They go now to 1-3 in the conference, 2-5 overall on the season with the disqualification win over Lincoln West. Lorain Admiral King falls to 1-1 in conference play and 2-5 also on the season. Again, our final score in overtime: Southview 21, Lorain Admiral King 20. Will be
The Eyes of Lorain City Schools, WLCS TV 61.